Hey there, it's Mitzi. Welcome to my channel and welcome to another 5-Book Friday. If you follow my channel, you know that on Fridays I am sharing 5 favorite books from different genres or topics or whatever we come up with. So if you have an idea, leave it in the comments and I'll add it to our ever-growing list. And thank you to the ones that have already been giving me ideas for upcoming 5-Book Fridays. So today I am sharing 5 favorite easy chapter books or early chapter books for kids. Now, last week I shared 5 of my favorite middle grade books from my own childhood, books that I loved as a child that I reread and enjoyed over and over because we are about to celebrate Middle Grade March starting next week. And if you're not familiar with Middle Grade March, I'll leave a link to the video announcement below so that you can see that. And I'll also leave a link to the Middle Grade March 5-Book Friday that I did last week. But today, because of that, I wanted to share some easy chapter books or early chapter books because I had a question last week from someone asking me for ideas to help them find books for their 7-year-old. And I think their 7-year-old was like at a 4th grade reading level. But it made me think about some of my favorite books that my kids enjoyed in my classroom as well as at home, my own boys enjoyed. And so these are some that, that I thought of immediately that I already have on my shelf and I thought I would share with you in case you're interested. And these could count for Middle Grade March too because they are kids books and I kind of lump all that together. But these are all books that are early readers. So they're not picture books, but they are books that are a little bit longer, so they're divided into chapters. They have a few little illustrations in them and they're very short, they're not long, but it makes the kids feel like they have accomplished a little bit more transitioning from the picture book to what we call the chapter book. And my kids always were excited to read more chapter books. I think it just made them feel like they were grown up or something and they enjoyed that. And I had a lot of these in my classroom library. Now, I taught 3rd grade, and so I had kids who were hardly reading at all, and then kids who could read at a much higher grade level that even their interest would be. So what I mean is, they could read probably at a high school level. I mean, they were, that advanced in their reading, but those weren't the topics they were interested in. So I found that having just a variety of different reading levels on topics that the kids cared about was the way to go in my library. I didn't care which book they picked, I just wanted them to read, So if it was a book that most of the kids in my classroom, these books were easy for them, but they loved them. They enjoyed reading them, and I didn't care because I don't want to be challenging myself with a book that's really hard for me to read either. So I was trying to instill in them a love for reading. And so any book that they wanted to read was fine with me as long as it piqued interest in reading, in general, and instilled in them a lifelong love for reading, basically. So these are some of the books that I had that, and you'll see when you see them because they are pretty ragged. I mean, they were well loved in my classroom as well as at home. And I have stapled them back together and taped them and everything else because it was just popular books. So I thought I would share those today in case you're interested. So the first one is one that I loved too. I just love this book. I've read this book several times, but it's called Aliens for Breakfast by Jonathan Etra and Stephanie Spinner. And you can tell, I mean, I have taped this together and stapled it. It was well loved in my classroom. And it's called a stepping stone book. So that's one of those easy books. If you look at it, you see, I mean, there's hardly any writing on the page. There's a lot of pictures, but it's divided into chapters. And so that's why it's called a early chapter book. And this one is, it says it's I actually wrote levels in some of these. This was a 3.0 reading level, so a 3rd grade reading level, so for about an 8 or 9-year-old. And it was one that they all loved. And what happens in this little story is this little kid is eating his breakfast one morning and you know how you get a little prize in your breakfast cereal, and so he opens it up and he has a prize, but it's actually an alien that is in his cereal, and the alien has come to Earth because there is an invader, and so the alien needs the little boy's help. I can't remember what the little boy's name is. Let's see. Richard is his name. He needs Richard's help to save the planet, basically, to save Earth from this invasion. And it is just super cute. It's so much fun, and I love this little story. I just think it's precious. And I think there are others in this series. I know that there's an Aliens for Lunch, and I think there might be another one. I have read Aliens for Lunch, but I loved Aliens for Breakfast the best, and by the looks of this, you can tell it is just raggedy. My kids in my classroom loved this little book. This one was well loved in my classroom. So that's one. Another one that my kids really enjoyed was The Chocolate Touch by Patrick Skene Catlin. And this one, I don't think I put the level, but it's the same thing. It's probably a second grade level. And this one is based on the Midas Touch. It's the same idea as the Midas Touch, where, you know, anything you touch turns to gold. But in this one, the little boy loves chocolate. He wants chocolate all the time. He doesn't want to eat his food or his vegetables, and so they're concerned about him because he's always wanting chocolate. And one day he finds this coin, this mysterious coin, and he goes in this chocolate store, this candy store, and he gets this box of chocolates and he eats the chocolates, and the next morning everything he touches turns to chocolate. And of course problems ensue from that. There's a lot of things that happen because he has eaten this magic chocolate, and it is a really cute story, and I just love this one. I know there's another one called Chocolate Fever, but for me this one is the one that I enjoyed the most, and my kids really love this one too. So The Chocolate Touch, that's another one that's a lot of fun. Now this one is a little more serious, and I will say it's sad, but it's a beautiful story, and it's called Stone Fox by John Reynolds Gardner, and the level is a second grade level on this one. And again, you know, it's super short. That's how the words are on it. There's not many words. I think there's a few pictures in this one. So that one takes up a whole page. But this one is about a little boy named Willie, 10-year-old Willie. And his grandfather becomes ill. He lives with his grandfather. He becomes ill. And so Willie is determined to save the farm. His grandfather will not get out of bed. And so in order to save the farm, because they owe back taxes, I think, on the farm, he enters this dog sled race. He is up against this other particular guy, and I'm trying to think of what. His dog's name is Searchlight. So Willie and his dog Searchlight enter the race, and you know, this is a loyal dog and it's about their relationship, but they are against this famous guy named Stone Fox. And so it's about the race and what happens, his relationship with his grandfather and saving the farm, but it's a lot about this dog Searchlight. And so it's a beautiful story, but I will say it's a sad story. So if you don't want a sad one, this would not be one, because it's pretty serious. But it is a great story, and a lot of my kids loved it in my classroom, and I loved it too. So Stone Fox is another one. And then finally, oh no, I have two more. And then I have one, this one is actually a little biography if you're interested in that. And if you look at the cover of this one, you'll see it is seen its better day, but again, it was well loved. It's Helen Keller by Stuart and Polly Ann Graff, and it is just the story of Helen Keller. And for some reason, this was a super popular book. I mean, this one is, I think it's gotten wet, and because it's, you know, my kids would check these out from my library and take them home, so there's no telling what all happened. I mean, I've taped it and stapled it. But it's the story of Helen Keller. If you don't know the story, she was born a healthy child, but then she had a fever when she was a baby, and she ended up both deaf and blind. And so it's about her life and the struggle she had, and then the teacher that comes to help her. And it's a pretty famous story. You probably know the story of Helen Keller, but it's a very encouraging, powerful story about her overcoming the obstacles, these great obstacles that she had. And so my kids loved this one, especially the girls in my class, for some reason, really was drawn to Helen Keller. And so, I mean, the boys liked it too, but the girls just seemed to fight over this one. They really loved this one a lot. And again, like I say, you know, there's hardly any words on the page, but it does tell the basic story of Helen Keller. And if you're looking for something that's nonfiction that is about someone, maybe a biography for middle grade March, this is a good one to pick up because it's super short. And it really does cover the basic story of Helen Keller. They love that one too. And then finally, I wanted to share a series. This is a series of fun chapter books, early chapter books that are for like a second or third grade level. Again, 7 or 8 year olds. And my kids loved these books. And I will tell you, I loved them too. I just thought they were funny. Now, they're very predictable, but I like that about it because it's the same group of kids at school. And they're called The Adventures of the Bailey School Kids. And this is volume 1. And then I have volume 2. And they come in separate little chapter books. And I have a bunch of them. But they were so popular in my classroom that I ended up getting these sets like this for my house because I wanted my boys to read them. And the ones in my classroom were ended up looking like this Helen Keller book. You know what I mean? And so I had to repurchase these a lot because they read them so much. But what this is just a group of kids. This is the Bailey School Kids, and it's a group of kids, and different things happen at the school where they are suspicious about either their teacher or their gym teacher or the cafeteria lady or someone in the neighborhood is something else. For instance, the first one is called Vampires Don't Wear Polka Dots, and it's about the school teacher, their new school teacher. They think that she is a vampire. And then the next one is Werewolves Don't Go to Summer Camp, and it's the coach, the summer camp counselor, they think is a werewolf. Leprechauns Don't Play Basketball. Ghosts Don't Eat Potato Chips. In this volume, we have Frankenstein Doesn't Plant Petunias. Aliens Don't Wear Braces. Genies Don't Ride Bicycles. And Pirates Don't Wear Pink Sunglasses. And I think there is so many of these that I've lost count. But this, again, is a set. Like there is 4 books in each one of these. So they're super short. They're not long. Again, you know, the page is like that. It's not much to them at all. And they are just fun little stories where the kids, you know, suspect this thing about the teacher or whatever, and then most of them are kind of open-ended, fun little things because it's like you're guessing. And again, they're predictable and it's, you know, the same characters, but they're just super fun. So if you have a child that is at that age that likes to get into a series, this might be a fun series to get into. And there was a lot of these early chapter book series that were real popular with my students. So if you want to know more about those, I could do a whole list of early chapter book series too if you're interested. Just let me know in the comments. So these are just some of the early chapter books that are on my shelf right now that I've held on to because my kids love them so much, and I love them too. And I'd like to actually, I think I might just pick this up and read it again today because I love this little book. So those are just some fun ones that I had. Do you have some favorite early chapter books that your kids enjoyed or you enjoyed? Let me know that in the comments as well. Are you participating in middle grade March? Let me know that too. And if you're interested in some other series of early chapter books or other middle grade series, let me know that in the comments too. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.